Okay, so we officially have the suspensions for Connor McDavid and Tyler Myers, and I'm trying to keep it together and not just lose my absolute marbles. Tyler Myers was given a 3-game suspension for cross-checking Evan Bouchard in the face, and Connor McDavid was given a 3-game suspension for cross-checking Connor Garland in the face. And I have some very strong thoughts about this. If the league hadn't set precedents in the past with what a suspension should look like for this type of play. You had Austin Matthews suspended 2 games for a similar cross-check to Rasmus Dahlin a couple years ago. You've had other instances of players who do this type of action and get 1 or 2 games. If it's a playoff game, or if it's a playoff season, it's 1 game. Carson Soucy was given that 1-game suspension last year, if you all remember that. 3 games for Tyler Myers, I think, was fair. I think that's fair. An unprovoked, no reason to do what he did to Evan Bouchard. Basically, just a cross-check to the face. Evan Bouchard was not in any position where he looked threatening towards Tyler Myers. That one's fine. But for Connor McDavid, 3 games as well. Gets the same punishment, where basically the officials in that game, which, by the way, were Wes McCauley and Chris Lee. I like to point this out because Wes McCauley might be the worst official on the entire planet other than Kelly Sutherland. I actually don't know which one is worse. He gets roughed up constantly, over and over and over. He fights back, and he gets absolutely walloped by player safety. Now, Connor McDavid has been suspended in the past. I don't know if this is considered a historical, because there is technically history there. He has been suspended in the past for hits to the head. And it usually only happens after a very prolonged instance of him dealing with crap from another team, another player, refs not calling something. I'm not justifying the action. I'm not saying you should be cross-checking someone in the face. As someone that has suffered a lot of brain trauma over his own life, someone that has suffered a lot of concussions myself, I want all of this out of the game. I don't want any of this in the game. And if this sets a precedent for the rest of player safety and the rest of the league where, a cross-check to the head is going to be 3 games no matter what, fine, do it, because players are going to stop doing this. That's not where I have the issue here. The issue I have is the length that has not, there's been no precedent set before with this type of suspension and the length. You have absolute goons like Sam Bennett, who sucker punched people in the side of the head constantly, all the time, the headshots, concussing Brad Marchand in the playoffs last year. Just recently, Bennett did the same type of sucker punch. He's given a fine. It makes absolutely no sense. And the other thing that makes no sense about this suspension to me is there was no injury on the play. Usually player safety will look at a situation like this, and if there's an injury, that can affect the length of suspensions. They have normalized that. They have explained that in previous suspension videos where, if the result of an action is an injury, that plays into length of suspension. There was no injury to Connor Garland, and as far as we're aware, there was no injury to Evan Bouchard either. There are fan bases out there, and there are fans of other teams out there. There are media members out there that think Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers get coddled by the officials. And that just could not be further from the truth. If anyone even watched this team for more than 1 game a season, you would see the amount of stuff that McDavid has to deal with and has dealt with since he entered the league. And he does not complain. There used to be memes about Sidney Crosby and his antics on the ice with officials. A lot of people used to think that he whined a lot because he did. There's a lot that he dealt with too from players that were clearly less skilled, inferior players on the ice that Sidney Crosby had to deal with. And back when Crosby was playing in the, in his heyday, the mid 2000s and then early 2010s, scoring a little bit harder to come by, skill and speed wasn't nearly what it was today. He had to deal with a lot of nonsense from players that clearly sucked and were just awful. And you have players like that in today's NHL doing that to Connor McDavid with no repercussions from the officials on the ice. They are not protecting their stars. And I will have fan bases constantly be like, oh, Connor McDavid, he's always coddled by the league. He gets protected all the time. He gets away with everything. Does he? Does he really? Because Bob Stauffer, he put out a tweet, the Oilers, Connor McDavid currently sits 197th in penalties drawn per 60 at 0.89, minimum 10 games played. Does that show anyone any evidence that he is coddled by the league and that he gets away with everything and he draws power plays for the Oilers constantly. Absolutely not. If I'm Connor McDavid right now, and obviously I'm going to be biased because I'm an Oilers fan and I try to be unbiased, this is an outrageously long suspension for a play that we've seen other players commit and get less for, and plays that we see players commit and get nothing for. Like, I just don't understand the logic of this type of suspension. I truly did think McDavid was going to get 1 game, maybe 2 max. And I did think Tyler Myers would get 1 or 2 games max as well. The fact that this is an even punishment to the league. The league looks at this and goes, yeah, that's even. Connor McDavid, eventually, he's being manhandled for 15, 20 seconds. He finally snaps, throws a cross check, boom. All right, that's 3 games. Tyler Myers, he attacks a defenseless opponent for no reason. Yeah, that's the exact same. This is the equivalent. I'm not even kidding. This is the equivalent of schoolyard bullies who constantly bully one kid over and over and over. And that one kid finally fights back, and then the school board jumps in and they give the kid that finally retaliated the same punishment as the bully. Oh, you're both expelled. Oh, you both get detention. After allowing so much go from the bully themselves. That's kind of how I'm alluding this. That's the... And for Wes McCauley, he's probably laughing. He's probably having a grand old time. I bet he's kicking up his feet on the couch right now on his coffee table. He probably has a nice glass of, I don't know what he drinks. Beer, wine, water, Pepsi, Coke. Who gives a shit? He's probably laughing it up because this is exactly not only what the officials want, this is what the league wants. The league mandates this stuff with the officials. The officials call the game the way the league wants games called. They want games close. They want more skilled players to be brought down to the level of less skilled players. They want the talent level watered down. It's why they keep expanding and why they're going to expand to 34 teams soon. It's what they want. That's what they want, apparently. And for the hard, earning fans who spend their hard-earned cash to go to games, buy merch, do you think anybody who spends money on season tickets, who spends money for their cable package to watch games, who spends money on streaming services to watch games, do you think any of them are spending their money to watch what Wes McCauley does on the ice? Do you think any of them are paying money to watch the Stripes and be like, oh man, I can't wait to see Wes McCauley tonight. I spent $300 and spending $20 per beer to watch Wes McCauley. And then this is the result of that. So now Connor McDavid, he's not in the lineup for 3 games. He will miss the game against Washington tomorrow. He'll miss the rematch against the Canucks on Thursday, and then he'll miss the game on Saturday against the Buffalo Sabres. 3 games in a row that he will not be in the lineup for. And for the fans who paid money to watch Connor McDavid for those 3 games, imagine the kids, the parents who maybe get to take their kid to 1 game a year. All that money that they spent, they probably have signs made up already for Connor McDavid. Maybe they get a puck or hoping to get a puck. They don't get to see him because of the actions of Wes McCauley and the National Hockey League and then Department of Player Safety as well, deciding that, hey, now we're actually going to take headshots seriously because the best player in the world did it to someone. If I'm Connor McDavid, I am absolutely refusing to play in the Four Nations Cup now. I would rescind my participation in that. I'd be like, you know what? Fine. If that's how the NHL wants to treat me, I refuse to be the face of an event that they're trying to generate revenue with, that they're trying to generate excitement for. I would absolutely, if you're Connor McDavid, you pull yourself out of there. Don't even attend it. And then you go to the media and explain why. Do what Mario Lemieux did. Do what Mario Lemieux did in the 90s when he finally called out the type of play and abuse that he was dealing with during the clutch and grab era. And how embarrassing of a look it is for the league. Seriously. It's embarrassing. The NHL owner should be embarrassed. Gary Bettman should be embarrassed. The NHL officials should be embarrassed. Department of Player Safety should be embarrassed. This sets an interesting precedent moving forward. I want to hear your thoughts. Please let me know in the comment section below. Keep things civil. Of course, you are allowed to, in this situation, express your frustration. I'm going to moderate the comments, obviously, but do not personally attack each other. This is outrageous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And for the NHL, that's what they want, guys. And for the fans watching, just know that that's what they want. And when it happens to your star, you might be laughing now. If you're a fan of another team, you might be laughing now and being like, good, McDavid deserves that, good. Well, when it happens to your star player, we'll sing it. I'm sure you're going to sing a different tune, right? Because that's what always happens. You get to laugh at the one fan base today, Oilers fans. You can all laugh at me. You can point and laugh. Be like, haha, he's crying. He's whining. I already know what the comments are going to be. Stop crying. Stop crying. When it happens to your star, I'm going to sit here and go, well, told you. Like, I don't know what else you want from me. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. And, of course, tell someone that you love them. We try and keep things positive here, so we're still going to end on a positive note. Tell someone that you love them. Fight like a kid. Fight like Ben. We'll see you in the pregame report tomorrow before the Washington and Oilers game.